Welcome back to another little video of Does This Time Travel Make Sense? A series in which we determine whether a time travel movie's time travel logic actually writes neatly. And today, by popular demand, we're looking at the supposed most complex time travel movie ever made, Primer. Primer is an ultra-low budget film made in the early 2000s about two engineers who discover time travel, initially using it to get rich and then getting a little freaky with it. The time machine in this movie is referred to as the box, which is basically a coffin-shaped, box that the characters must lay in for the duration they want to travel. So if they want to go back in time 6 hours, they have to sit in the box for 6 hours to get there. You know how normal time works, but the other way around. You can also only go as far back in time as the box is being switched on for. The conflict arises when the characters go further than just acquiring foreknowledge and start breaking symmetry, in that they start changing events that have already happened. So if this is a movie about characters going back in time and altering the future, basic time travel shit, then why is it considered one of the most complex time travel movies ever made? It's the way the story is told. A lot, and I mean a lot, of this film is purely subtextual. A hefty amount of vital narrative information is purely hinted at over the course of this film. There are events, there are plot points that should be given more weight but come and go in a single line, leading viewers who look away for perhaps a moment to miss big chunks of what's happening. Now, this might be due to budgetary reasons. It's much easier to refer to an event than film an entire scene, especially for a $7,000 film. It could also be, and probably more likely is, a directorial choice. Shane Carruth most likely was trying to achieve a vibe here. A mumblecore sci-fi where the audience feels like they're eavesdropping on half the conversation. And don't get me wrong, that's definitely a vibe, but I don't think it's as complex as its reputation claims. Let's break down the events of the film. There are a bunch of infographics online going in depth. This one here is probably the best in my opinion, but its timeline diagram is making it look more complicated than it actually is. Abe and Aaron are our main characters. Monday, Abe goes back in time. This creates something of a singular loop, where for 6 hours there are two Abes, but after which the past Abe goes back in time, closing that loop. For the purposes of the diagram, if the loop is closed, i.e. doesn't result in two of the same character ending up in one timeline, I'm just going to count it as one timeline. So we have Monday. Tuesday, Abe gets Aaron in on it, and they do the same thing. Go back 6 hours, trade stocks, get money, loop is closed. Wednesday, Aaron finds Abe has made an emergency second box that can go back in time slightly further. So Aaron folds up the original box and goes back in time inside the emergency box to early Monday morning. He then drugs and locks away the Monday version of himself to take his place, meaning there are now two Aarons and three time machines. The original time machine, the emergency time machine, and the original time machine from the previous timeline. This is where the movie begins. Aaron then relives Monday through Wednesday again, the exact same, each day traveling back 6 hours with Abe and recording every conversation he has as if it's the first time he's having it.
Did you call pest control?
Babe, they're birds. You don't want a bunch of dead baby birds up there, do you?
They don't sound like birds.
Thursday. Early Friday morning, they discover that there are two versions of Abe's girlfriend's dad, meaning that at some point in the future, someone other than them has used the box. They then both separately go back in time to Monday morning without telling the other, and clearly great minds think alike because Abe goes to his house and drugs and locks away the Monday version of himself. Meanwhile, Aaron, arriving back on Monday, goes to his house and sees the past version of himself drugging and locking away the Monday version of himself. So we now have two Abes and three Aarons in the time. The original selves are both gagged and tied in some cupboard or attic. The most up-to-date selves are assuming the roles of their past selves, and the slightly past version of Aaron who first went back decides, you know what, I'ma head out. You guys can handle this. So Aaron and Abe then meet up and try to pretend to each other that they're the past versions of themselves, which doesn't last long. Some other shit happens, and we end the film with the original selves resuming their lives and the future selves deciding we're gonna try and make sure nobody else creates a time machine. Well, more or less. So does the time travel make sense? Yeah. They're just rewriting an already rewritten timeline. It's not rocket science, it's time travel. As a film though, even though the time travel logic is pretty standard fare, the scientific conversations the characters have and the fact that the script and direction isn't the most user-friendly may cause a viewer not to fully understand the events of the film upon first viewing. Now, does the time travel making sense even matter? My answer to that is yes, it does. It really needs to make sense. Because if you're making a film that is so steeped in off-screen plot points that people need to write peer-reviewed theses online to explain the story, possibly to the detriment of one's own enjoyment of the film, you're really going to want to make sure that those citations are valid.